If you want to use your chair, you're going to have a chair. And I also use a blanket for my knees. So that's kind of up to you, right? So let me move this chair out of the way. And I'll come to the back of the room. All right. And I'm looking to see, yeah, okay, I'm in the camera. All right, beautiful. So welcome. Today's class is Gentle Yoga for Back Care. My name is Gail. I teach this class every Wednesday, every other Wednesday. Next week, it's Chair Tai Chi. In the chat line, we have the pain and distress survey. Be sure to click that before you leave the class today if you have to leave a little early, but welcome. So whether you're seated on the chair or standing or on your yoga mat, we're going to do the breath first. So find your belly button, and then we're going to do 2 finger widths. Below that is the center of what we call the dantian, or our collection center. We'll place the center of the palm on that area and then a hand above that. So we're going to engage in low belly breathing, which helps us reduce our blood pressure, lower our heart rate, and improve cerebral spinal fluid flow, which is the thing that gets rid of the waste in the brain, lessen dementia. So I love it. So here we go. When we breathe in, it's very weird because we're going to expand the belly out. And as we exhale, we draw the belly button towards the spine. So it's kind of opposite of what we're used to because a lot of us are chest breathers, not low belly breathers. We're engaging that diaphragm to do this. So here we go. Breathe in, belly out, and then exhale, really draw it towards your spine. Again, breathe in, belly out, and exhaling, draw that belly button towards your spine. One more time. Here we go. Breathe in, belly out, and exhale. Good. Today's classes, we're going to talk about and do golfer's grip. So let me come up to the front to show this golfer's grip. We take the pads of the fingers and we fold the fingers into the palm. And then we, maybe not all the fingers go down. That's okay. We line up the top of the hand with the forearm. So don't do this with cocked wrists. Yeah. So this activates the musculature in our forearms when we do this variation of the posture. We're going to do arm circles, which helps us with our postural alignment, helps us with getting everything kind of even from the hips to the shoulders. So we're going to do the golfer grip hands. And then I invite you to bring the elbows into the sides of the body. So your arms look like a letter W. So you're really squeezing the upper back musculature. And I have my toes pointing forward. From here, little soft bend in the knee. I invite you to extend those arms out into a letter T. I have my palms down to begin with. From here, what I'm going to do is draw a circle forward and back behind me. So with the really squeezy shoulders, you might speed up the rotations. You might be doing this a little bit slower. You might be doing this one hand at a time. You choose what you need to do at this moment. And there's this little oscillation that happens with the upper body and lower body. You kind of go back and forth a little bit, squeeze those shoulders. This is strengthening the upper back musculature, which is a key component for easing back challenges, by the way. And then release and relax that. From here, let's do that shoulder shuffle. That helps us to move lymphatic fluid, get that tension out of the upper body, kind of shake those arms a little bit. And let's go back to that golfer's grip. Fold the fingers into the pads of the hands. And again, thumbs kind of sticking up. Before we have the palms down, and let's take the thumbs. You know what? Go back to letter W first. Get that squeeze of the shoulders. There you go. Beautiful. Now extend those arms out into a letter T. Thumbs up, thumbs to the back of the room. Might feel a little challenging. Draw the arms behind you and forward. Woo! Keep going. Y'all keep doing that movement here a little bit. Let me change my screen here on my other computer so I can see if they're all right. So I can see y'all in the room. Those are y'all that are keeping the videos on. Couple more. Squeeze those shoulders. And release. Shake it out. Woo. Let's shake side to side. We do this in our Chair Tai Chi. It's called Shaking Gong. It's nice for kind of releasing that energy in the body that built up kind of tension and let it out. Bring it up a little bit, side to side. Bring it back on down. Very good. From here, let's interlace the fingers in front of you, whether you're seated, whether you're standing today. And again, I'm making sure my feet are pointing towards 12 o'clock. and then press the hands away. Now you're going to do what you can here. I'm going to scoot back a little bit so I can make sure this is in the camera. I'm going to bring my arms up, up, up. So you choose your range of motion. I'm going to try to go a little bit more, but if my elbows start to bend, that means I've gone a little too much. But I'm really trying to press the palms away, lengthening my upper body towards the ceiling, overhead extension, interlace fingers, and release those fingers. Bring those hands down. We'll do a seated or standing cat-cow. So basically hands on the thighs and curve the spine, kind of exaggerate it a little bit. And then you can do fists on your hips, chest kind of points toward where the wall meets the ceiling for cow pose. And then let's go back, hands on the thighs, bend those knees, curve the spine, flexion and extension of the spine. Good for that low back achy business that kind of goes on. And then fists on the hips or hands on the hips, and kind of open up that chest again to where the wall meets the ceiling, standing back bend, or you're standing cow posture. And we'll do one more. Go back to hands on the thighs, curve your spine. Again, whether you're seated, whether you're standing today, or sitting on the floor already. And then fist or hands on the hips, press your pelvic bones forward, and your belly and your chest kind of meet where the wall meets the ceiling. And release. Beautiful. Again, let's just kind of bend those knees, shake those arms. After that little mini back bend and forward bend. And then let's come on down to the floor. Now, if you're doing the class today on the chair, you're doing the class on the chair. That's okay. I always use the chair to help me get down. So I've got spicy knees and a spicy hip. Move my chair out of the way. And I usually use the blanket when we sit down on the floor, so I keep that close by. All right, so from here, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to lie on our back. And I've got 2 yoga blocks today because I'm always talking about if you had a second yoga block. I thought, well, I'm going to bring the second block today on the camera and watch me not use it. Right? All right, so I'm going to lie on our back, knees bent. This is called constructive rest pose. So this is a good one for releasing tension in the spine. You can do this on the couch, on the bed, on the floor, whatever surface you can find. And for me, though, this feels kind of weird. So what I'm going to do is grab my wrist and pull that wrist up and away, or actually my shoulder up and away. And then I'm going to do the other side. And sometimes it doesn't feel good in the lower back, so I walk my feet towards my behind, lift up, and re-roll my spine back on down to make it more comfortable. I try to notice whether or not my nose is pointed to the back of the room. Sometimes it does. My chin's kind of jutting up. So I'll take my hands back behind that atlas point or that occiput, lift the back of the head, kind of tuck my chin in, and kind of elongate the head away from the shoulders. Do the best I can here. From here, let's bring the knee into the chest. So you can do this seated or lying on your back. And you can either have the hands back behind the knee pit or wrapped around the shin. We're going to do some articulation of the ankle, which helps us to have better walking ability. Also helps with back pain also. So we're going to point and flex. Here we go. Now you're going to go at your own comfortable speed. You're going to notice how this feels for the shin, front of the leg, and the calf, back of the low leg. And then from here, let's draw a circle inward. Just notice what you notice here. Maybe there's some snap, crackle, pops happening. And then completely pause, and let's go in the other direction. Ankle circle in the other direction. And then release this foot down to the floor. Let's do the other one. And again, maybe your hands on the shin, hands back behind the knee. Maybe you're leaning back when you're doing this in the chair. That makes it a little bit more comfortable. But again, point and flex. And you'll notice, okay, what does the right side feel like versus the left side? Does it feel different? It might, especially if you're coming in here for this back yoga class. We usually have something going on one side of the body versus the other. And then let's do those ankle circles. Ooh, man, this feels stiff on this side. Notice what you notice. And let's reverse, go the other direction. Very good. And release that foot down to the floor. We're going to do a pose called notice pose. It lets us kind of figure out, is this class beneficial for us? So extend a leg all the way down to the edge of the yoga mat. And then do the same with the other side. If you're seated, you rest on the back of the heels, legs extended. And, wiggle those feet, wiggle those hips, wiggle the shoulders. And just kind of notice, how comfortable you are here on the floor with the right side versus the left, the lower body versus the upper body. Does one feel more kind of like stuck into the floor or eased into the floor versus the other? You having some kind of, challenges, some little, maybe pain. Yeah, maybe some achy stuff going on. Maybe. Let's contract the belly button towards the spine. Slide a foot onto the yoga mat. Always got to go slow on that first one. And then the other. We're going to do windshield wipers just to kind of help ease tension out of the hip musculature. So this is where I'm going to grab my yoga block, just one, because I might need it on this first time. So what I'm going to do is drop the knee out to the side. I'm resting on the side of the foot. And for me, this feels a little spicy. So what I do is I take my yoga block and place it underneath. That way I can just kind of relax and let that weight settle onto that block. And again, I'm on the side of the foot. We don't normally get to stimulate the side of the foot muscles. So this is the opportunity to do that. Then we're going to take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. So with the top leg, the top behind is probably rolled off the yoga mat a little bit. You can take your hand underneath and kind of, notice if it's still connected to the floor or if there's a little bit kind of rolling off. This is a low lumbar twist happening here too. Again, keep everything between the easy and ouch. And if it doesn't feel okay, come out of the posture or ease off a little bit. Here we go. Contract the belly button towards the spine. Top leg back to the center. Bottom leg back to the center. You can use your hand to guide it there. That's okay to do that, okay? Now the other side. I don't think I'm going to need the block on the second side. So here we go. Drop the knee out to the side. So that's the difference on one side of my body versus the other. Very stiff on that left, very, more easing of the body on the right. Take that top leg, drop it towards that bottom leg, and then I'm going to take my hand, slide it underneath. So a little bit of my behind is rolled up off the yoga mat. And I feel that stretch in that kind of side behind in that hip bone. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the heel of my hand or my thumb and press into that hip bone for like a little counter pressure, like a little trigger point pressure. That helps sometimes, doesn't make any difference. Today it's helping. All right, and then from here, belly button tight, bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. And we're going to do that again. We're going to do windshield wipers again, and then we'll do them both at the same time. So let's start with that original side, drop it out to the side. I don't need the yoga block on the second time. It's already easing up a bit. And then top leg towards the bottom leg. And again, I'll take my hand, slide my hand underneath. I'm clearing a little bit more space on this side. So I'm increasing my range of motion here. Sometimes increasing your range of motion, though, can also increase your pain levels. So you got to, find that sweet spot. Yeah. All right. Bring top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Woo. Let's do the other side. So drop the knee out to the side. Very good. And then take that top leg, drop it towards the bottom leg. And again, I'm going to take my hand, slide it underneath. So I've got a little bit of my upper back off the yoga mat too. So a little bit of progression. When you're doing this seated on the chair, it's not the same. You can have your feet on a yoga block and, doing the windshield wipers, but you're not going to get this kind of sweet sensation of easing of back challenges. But remember this for going on the bed if you're a chair person today, okay? Bring that top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. Now here's the challenge. You got to really kind of contract your core towards your spine. I'm going to bring my ankle bones closer together. And then very slowly, excuse me, I'm going to drop both knees out to the side. Now I have my hands low. I'm bracing on the floor so I don't go wildly down to the floor. And if this is not pleasant, you can go back to doing one at a time, then the other. So I'm feeling a little bit of spice here on that top behind, kind of in the center. But it's okay. So what you can do also in a spicy posture is to breathe. Okay, yeah, we're breathing already. But what I mean by that is when you breathe in, listen to the breath going in through the nostril tips. So let's do that. And when you exhale, listen to that air coming out of the nostril tips. So that's redirection of senses. All right, squeeze the belly button towards the spine, top leg back to the center, bottom leg back to the center. You know what? Just kind of march in place right here to kind of let go of that muscle memory that might have been built up in that kind of big time stretch that we were just doing with both legs. And then bring the ankle bones back together, the inside of the knees back together. Again, really tighten up that belly and arms, fiercely planted into the floor as you start to drop them to the side. So it's more weight doing this also, by the way. And I'm going a little bit slow on this side because it was kind of spicy on the other side. This side didn't seem to have that challenge. Again, so you'll get to know your own body's weird stuff or peculiarities or, ooh, why does it feel that way? That kind of thing. You know what? I'm going to take my hand underneath, slide it. Yep, I'm clearing some space there. Maybe you are too. Now, again, squeeze the core, invite everything back to the center. Use your hands if necessary. Woo! Walk in place. All right, now let's do notice pose. So extend one leg all the way down. Here we go. Here we go. Shake the leg, wiggle the leg, then the other one. Wiggle those hip bones if you want to. Wiggle the shoulder bones. And just notice, does it feel any different than that first one you did? It might. It just might. That's good stuff. Or I hope it is. All right. So draw your feet back onto the floor, back onto the yoga mat, and grab your yoga strap. We're going to do big toe hold. We're kind of mixing them today. We're doing the traditional stuff, and then we're doing the golfer's grip. So what we're doing here is taking the middle of your yoga strap, whether you're sitting on the chair, whether you're lying on your back, place your foot in that strap. Takes a little bit for me to do that. And then extend it up into the air. Now, if you're on the chair, you rest the back of the heel on the floor. So you're trying to see foot aligned with my ankle, ankle aligned with my shin, my knee, my hip. It's not turning out to the side, okay? Then I'm going to take one hand on either side of that strap. Pull on that strap. And then I'm going to bend my knee and then push the strap away. So this is a bone building exercise also. So when you stimulate those large muscle groups, that helps stimulate bone growth. But you have to hold the muscle contraction for at least 30 seconds. Now, sometimes this is a little challenging for the hands. You might want to slide your hands up the yoga strap or towards you and then wrap the strap around the wrist and then re-engage. So that's, you're still, got that good grip strength going on, which that's a indication of your grip strength later on in life if you're going to fall. So this, you need to do this. You need to endure this, okay? That's my opinion. Of course, it's only my opinion, okay? Woo! Gotta hold it a little bit more, a little bit more. You can do it. You can do it. And then take that other foot. Tap, tap, tap. All right. And then take that tappy foot, take it out to the side, 1/2 of a windshield wipers. Now we're going to change big toe hold into out to the side, big toe hold. If that opposite hip starts to raise up, that means you've gone too far. You need to kind of back off a little bit. But again, pull push with vigor. And I mean like with vigor, okay? You should feel it in your forearms, in your hands, in your calf, in your shin, maybe the knee. If it's too much for the knee, bend the knee, but still toes towards you. It might feel a little more spicy in a different area. So just notice what you notice here. Again, these are specific yoga postures cultivated for easing back challenges. You won't find this in any other class. Maybe in Deb's class. Deb used to teach back yoga also. You're a chair yoga person on Friday. So you can ask her about that. But all right, let's bring it back to the center. Woo! And release. You know what? Release the strap too because you held on, right? So let's clap the hands. Ooh, let's do that again. All right, rub into the palms. This is a little bit of an arthritis right here. Prevention. And rub into the fingers. Now, if you want to, take the thumb bed to thumb bed and rub just into the thumb bed. Or as I like to call it, the drumstick of the hand. It kind of looks like a drumstick, doesn't it? Chicken drumstick? Yeah, maybe. I got a wild imagination, so there you go. And it should feel all kind of nice and warmed up. Let's just do some little wrist circles here. Don't worry, I didn't forget. We're going to do big toe hold on the other side, but I thought a little bit of hand articulation here would be good. Reverse. And then if you can, spin the wrists. That's weird, spinning the wrist laying on your back. We do this in Chair Tai Chi, but it's a good thing. And then pause and reverse your spinning wrists. That's good for that carpal tunnel too, by the way. And you just kind of wiggle the fingers. Now make fists and cat claws. Fists and cat claws. Fists and cat claws. Let's do big toe hold on the other side. Hope y'all didn't forget which one it was. It's the other side. Woo! Or the other leg. All right, so again, foot aligned with the ankle, the shin, the knee, and then get your hands on either end of that strap. Again, you're resting on the back of the heel and toes towards you. You're doing this seated. You probably need to be more near the edge of the chair too to have this be comfortable on the behind. Here we go. We're going to bend the knee, push it away, grab the strap, pull and push. So that low back probably is pressed firmly into the yoga mat also. Again, realign up your foot if you need to, because sometimes my toes turn out to the right when I do this and I go, whoops, bring it back in. And again, if you need to bend the knee, but again, toes towards you. And if you need to, bring your hands up or down the yoga strap, however that's like, I don't know, down towards you, but up the strap. You see how I get confused on that? I just bring it towards me and then wrap my wrists and then re-engage. I get a little bit more forearm contraction when I do it in that manner. So I guess this is one that you'd call 2 for the price of 1. Yes, I talk a lot. How about that? Because we got to stay in the pose, okay? I guess I just don't like to hear the silence. All right, I think that's almost 30 seconds. So we're going to take the other foot, tap, 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 get a little vibrational energy into the pose too. A little bonus there. Yeah. Woo. All right, so we're going to do half of a windshield wiper with the tappy foot. That's our counterweight. And then let's take this sky foot and bring it out to the side. Again, if that opposite hip starts to kind of roll up, you've gone a little too far. Just kind of back off just a skosh, okay? Just a little bit. Are you still pulling and pushing? Yes, you are. Woo, is it fun? Probably not. You're probably going, wow, the back of the knee. Wow, you feel that stretch? Mm-hmm. Breathe. Let's breathe right here. That redirection of the senses. Here we go. Breathe in. Belly expands kind of naturally when you listen to that breath, and then exhale, let the belly drop. Let's do that again. Breathe in, belly big. Woo! Exhale, belly towards the spine. Now, a normal breath, listen to the breath though. Maybe a little bit slower, a little bit longer, and exhale. Wow. Bring it back to the center, nice and slow, nice and slow. Release the strap. Take that strap out to the side. Once again, clap the hands, clap them again. Get some heat going on here. Very nice. Yes, let's do notice pose. Extend one leg, shake a leg, do the other one, and then wiggle the feet, wiggle the hips, wiggle the shoulders. You might feel really connected to the surface that's supporting you now. Just notice what you notice, yeah? Okay, so we're going to do the overhead extension and the golfer's grip. So I'm going to come up to seated so I can kind of show this for the people that are doing this in the chairs. And if you want to look at this with me upright too, that works too. So again, remember the golfer's grip. We folded the fingers into the palms of the hands. And what we'll do here is we're going to have our arms parallel to the floor, or I don't know, little right angles if you're seated. We're going to do the same thing. You're laying on your back doing this same movement, but we're going to have our hands out in front of us as if we're flying through the air. So let's go back to constructive rest pose where we're lying on our back. So let's lie on our back. And from here, have the arms out here in front of your chest like you're flying through the air. If you go up and down, if you're seated in the chair, you might feel your abdominals. You might feel your abdominals when you're doing this lying on your back too. And what we'll do here is take the fingers, fold them into the pad of the palm, and then turn the thumbs towards you. And then from here, move that strap out of the way. We're going to bend at the elbows, and we have perpendicular arms to the floor if you're laying on your back, or parallel arms to the floor if you're sitting on the chair. So what we'll do here, if you're seated on the chair, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades towards one another and release. If you're here on the floor, press your shoulders into the yoga mat or squeeze them towards one another and release. And you're holding those vigorous golfer grip hands. Let's do that again. Squeeze and release. 3 more. Squeeze and release. 2 more. Squeeze and release. 1 more. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Squeeze, 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 and release. You know what? Clap your hands. Rub some heat. Find your yoga block. Let's grab the yoga block and add some hip musculature strengthening at the same time. We're going to take that medium width, place it in between the thighs with your sitting or on your back, and then heel toe your feet in towards one another. Get a good, kind of have a nice little squeeze going on here. It's not 100%, but it's, you know, you're going to be able to hold it for the entire length of the exercise, I hope. Let's go back to golfer's grip. So we do those super person arms. Again, fly through the air a little bit. Again, it's just a little sneaky abdominal challenge there. And then fold the fingers into the pads. Turn the thumbs towards the center. From here, we're going to bend the elbows, bring the back of the arms on the floor, parallel arms to the floor if you're seated. Maybe squeeze the block some more, maybe walk your feet in more. All right, here we go. We're getting set up. Squeeze into the floor and release. Squeeze and release. 3 more. Squeeze and release. 2 more, 2 more. Squeeze and release. And last one, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now hands in front of your chest, clap your hands. Rub some circulation back into the fingers. Now we're going to add on to this movement. So we're going to interlace the fingers, and if you're laying on the floor, drop your shoulders to where you're laying on the floor. Elbows look the same, turn them to be the same. We'll do what is called overhead extension for our range of motion in the shoulder girdle. So from here, with squeezy palms, squeezy yoga block, belly button tight, bring the arms slowly up and overhead. Again, once the arms start to bend, you're at a stopping point, or maybe one of the shoulders tells you to stop. That's okay either way. This is actually more difficult to do seated on the chair. So again, remember this for on the bed, okay? So again, you get to a natural stopping point. Maybe you kind of wiggle your head side to side. Mine are on the side of my front of my glasses here. So I'm noting my range of motion. Now squeeze the palms, squeeze the abdominals. Slowly bring your overhead extension, back in front of your chest. And like you're squeezing those palms really fierce. Release the squeeze, clap the hands. Do that again. Rub some circulation back in. Woo. I feel like I'm exfoliating my hands. All right, back to golfer's grip. Yay. So fold the fingers in. Oh, my finger got in. Okay, one of my fingers was not touching my palm. It finally is. And then bend the elbows, back of the arms, on the floor, parallel arms, perpendicular arms, all that good stuff. Here we go. Squeeze the yoga block some more. Squeeze the shoulders and release the shoulders only. Squeeze and release. 3 more. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. 1 more. Here we go. Here we go. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Hands in front of your chest. Clap. Clap again. Rub some heat. Okay. Interlace those fingers. Squeezy palms. Elbows the same. Lower the shoulders. All right. Belly button tight. Palms tight. Here we go. Squeeze the block. Up and overhead. Go slow. Don't go fast. Try to keep breathing. Don't hold your breath. See if you're able to increase your range of motion. Maybe. Ooh, I'm down the sides of my glasses. I'm going to wiggle my thumbs. Sometimes I can touch the floor. Sometimes I cannot. It just kind of, you know, depends how it is. Now squeeze the palm, squeeze the core. Bring it back to in front of your chest. Go slow because it's more challenging to go slow. All right, release the hands, clap the hands. Get some circulation going on here, right here, right here, right here. We'll do it 1 more, okay? Fold the fingers in, turn the thumbs to the center, And then bend at the elbows. Here we go. Back of the arms. We're going to squeeze the shoulders, press into the floor. Keep the squeeze of the block. Did you lose the block? You may have. Here we go. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. 3 more. Squeeze and release. 2 more. Squeeze, release. Big one right here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. All right, hands in front of your chest. Clap your hands. Rub some circulation here. All right, here we go. Interlace the fingers, squeeze the palms, elbows the same, shoulders down. Again, squeeze palms, squeeze the block a little extra now. This is the last one. Yay, last one. Bring it up and overhead. Again, don't go towards pain. And I'm going to wiggle my thumbs. Ooh, one of my thumbs is touching. Oh my goodness. Kind of. A little bit. My thumbnail. And then squeeze the belly button towards the spine. Squeeze the palms slowly. Bring it back. Woo! Once it's there in front of your chest, release the hands. Clap the hands. Rub some heat. Beautiful. You know what? We're going to take the yoga block now. Let's do a windshield wiper. Take the yoga block out. Do a windshield wiper. Drop one, then the other. Take your hand underneath. Notice if you're clearing a little bit more space. You probably are. Top leg back to the center. Bottom leg back to the center. Do the other side. Drop that knee out to the side. Drop the other one towards it. Use your hand to see if you're clearing any space there on the yoga mat. And then leg back to the center. Other one. Let's do notice pose. So extend the leg. Oof. And then the other. Wiggle the feet, the hips, the shoulders. See if you're a little bit more connected to the surface that's supporting you. All right, let's come out of that. And we're going to do a block bridge. We're going to just go ahead and do that. I'm checking our time here. So grab your yoga block. This is the number one reason for having the yoga block is this next pose, okay? So this was in my gentle yoga for low back pain training. You're going to take that yoga block and scoot it underneath her booty. Now, if you can't do that or this feels uncomfortable, you just have your booty on the ground, okay? And then we're going to walk the shoulders away because I feel all kind of crunchy, scrunchy there. Feels like I'm like kind of compressed and I want to elongate my spine. This is like a natural like tension release going on here when you're on a yoga block. I know they do this in different other exercise modalities like Pilates and Feldenkrais and calisthenics, okay? Calisthenics. I can't say that word. All right, so we're going to bring a leg in the air and shake it. Now, in the chair, this does not resonate as well, okay? You might want to scooch over the couch and try this on the couch. So you got this vibrational energy here, kind of getting into all our muscles, our structure here. Now, if this is not your thing, you don't have to shake very vigorously. Now, shake it side to side, wiggle it. And then let's release that leg down to the floor. Let's do the other one. So bring it up. Here we go. And then start that little movement going on. I try to wiggle it to where my toes are wiggling on their own, although my toes are really stiff. So I got to wiggle that leg kind of vigorously to make that happen. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. You have to, of course, be comfortable in this, okay? And then let's do that side to side wiggling. I don't like that movement, but I know it's good for my body. So, okay, I'm going to do it. Now, if you want to, you can bring the other leg up. So I'm going to bring my arms in to make that happen. And then shake them both. Woo! And then wiggle side to side. Shake them both. And get really vigorous here if you can. Which one shakes better? Does one shake better than the other? You might have that happening, you know, depending on your muscle control or lack of control. One of the two, yeah? All right, bring one leg down. You might feel that sensation of tingling. Might. And then let's do the other one. Okay, now I'm going to press into the floor, press into the back of the arms, lift up, bring that block out, roll my spine down. Notice what you notice. Might feel kind of good or not. And again, let's do that notice pose. Extend the leg, shake that leg, do the other one. Woo! So I don't feel as congested in my hip musculature in my shoulders, and I've got scoliosis, so that's a feat for that to happen. Let me just tell you that, okay? All right, so we're going to come up to sit. So again, those of us with back challenges, you need to be really cautious about this. If you ever have like that pain in your kind of your hip bone structure when you roll side to side, it's usually an indication of SI joint dysfunction. So what I do, because I have that, is that, I lift up first, then I turn, because I don't like pain. I don't want to be in pain. So that's what I do to lessen that weird SI joint dysfunction feeling. And I take that top leg, extend it, press into the arm that's in front of me, come up. Now, you might feel dizzy because we've been laying on our back here. So this is like a good stopping place. If you're okay, you can come up to seated. And what I like to have folks do is bring their chin towards their chest just to kind of get that equilibrium to get more equal. Well, that sounds weird, doesn't it? Then, of course, my yoga blocks are way far away. I'm grabbing my yoga blocks. You don't need to, I just need to. And then I'm going to grab my yoga blanket. And I have taken my yoga blanket, and I folded it up into like a skinny rectangle. You can do this with a bath towel too, okay? And then I like to fold it up into thirds. Adrienne may actually talk about this in her yoga for Restore. She does it, I think it's Saturday night. Yeah. Ooh, y'all need to do that class. It's really good. And then have this nice thickness here. And I sit on the edge of that blanket. Because again, I've got scoliosis. So it feels weird in my body sometimes. I put that yoga block underneath there because that feels easier for my body. It lets my pelvis tilt forward. So we usually do either seated on the chair. You can do this standing also, folks. We're going to do unsupported twists. And in unsupported twists, in a normal yoga class, they'll say, hey, take an opposite hand to a leg. So that's considered to be a lever, because then sometimes we use that hand to force us into a twist. So that's considered a no-no in back yoga, okay? So I just teach this. You just only have to do it in this class, okay? So we're going to go and do letter W. So we're squeezing that upper back musculature. So we're engaging those upper back muscles. And the thoracic spine, kind of from your collarbone down to your pubic bone, maybe a little bit of sacrum in there. What we're going to do is just use your thoracic spine to twist. So you keep your chin aligned with your spine. We're going to breathe in, belly big, squeeze those shoulders. Then twist only with your back. So we're not using that lever to help us do that. So your entire body turns as a unit, so to speak. Re-squeeze your shoulders because sometimes they get lost, they get loose. We're going to breathe in right here and then exhale back to the center and relax the shoulders down. So, you're holding that quite a bit. So just do that little shoulder shuffle here. You may want to switch the legs. It might feel better. Switch the other way. Yeah, it does. Oh my goodness. Okay. And go back to that letter W, squeezy shoulders. Oh, I see a kitty cat. All right. Kitty cat's doing yoga too. There you go. All right. So here we go. We're going to breathe in, squeeze those shoulders, and use your whole spine to turn, 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 turn. Did you turn more? Maybe. Stay here. Chin aligned with your chest. Breathe in. And back to the center and release. Whew. Now, those of you that want to do cat-cow on your hands and knees, I'm going to show that. It's going to be flowy cat-cow, specifically for back challenges. Those of you that don't want to be on your knees, you can do this standing or seated on the chair. So let me move my yoga blocks out of the way, transitioning onto hands and knees. Now, again, this is the reason why I have the yoga blanket also, is again, I've got a spicy knee. So I open up that width of that yoga blanket and just kind of put it there where I think my knees might be. I may be off, I don't know. All right, so I awkwardly turn. Oh, well, that's okay. So traditional cat-cow is hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. For back yoga, we do flowy cat-cow, which is like a yang yoga movement. So you shift your hands forward, spread out the hands like little starfish, and then you come down to the forearms. I'm going to bring my knees a little bit wider apart. You can be on tops of the toes or curly toes. I do curly toes. Not that one way is better than the other. That's just how it feels for me. So for me, what I'm going to do here is bring my elbows a little bit in towards my knees. So it allows my booty to go a little bit lower towards my heels. I'm going to spread out my forearms a little bit, because what we're going to do, we're going to lick the floor and then inhale, drag your nose up in between your hands, your belly soft. Once your nose is kind of in alignment with the wrists, you're going to contract your belly button towards your spine, peel your forearms off the yoga mat and shift forward. And then exhale, curve your spine to the top of the room for cat. And then come all the way to where you're going to stop. And then inhale, drag yourself forward once again for cow. Curve your spine to the top of the room. Belly button tight, exhale. I'm sorry I'm not able to cue the chair, because this is hard enough to try to do this and cue this particular one. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, now we're going to come back to hands underneath. We're going to do oppositional reach. The multifidi muscle, just the deepest held layer muscle in your back, often gets turned to fat. When it does, it recruits other muscles to do the work, thus causing back pain. So we got to train, we got to strengthen that muscle. We do that with bird dog, oppositional reach, spinal balance, all the same thing. So we're going to take a hand way out, hand in the air if you're sitting on a chair. And then you take your opposite foot, extend it. I'm going to press my heel to the back of the room. So this is the first part. If you're seated, your foot's still on the floor. If you're seated, you bring your knee in towards the sky, the opposite knee. If you're on the floor, raise an arm up, raise a foot up. So opposite hand and knee, opposite arm and leg, and release. There might be a lot of wiggling going on with that. All right, let's try the other side. So left arm up in the sky or extended on that yoga mat. Opposite foot, press that heel to get that little calf contraction. You kind of feel up your abdominals when you do that too. From here, lift the arm up, lift the leg up, point the toes down, squeeze the bottom if you need to, and release it back to the center. Now we're going to try to coordinate that with the breath. So here we go. Inhaling, opposite arm and leg outward. Exhale, belly button tight, lift the arm and leg up. Inhale, arm and leg down. Exhale, back to the center. Other side, inhale, opposite arm and leg, reach out. Belly button tight, exhale, arm and leg up into the air. Inhale, bring it down. Exhale, bring it back to the center. From here, we're going to come up to standing. So I'm going to turn around because my chair is way over here. Again, I told y'all I use the chair to get up. But what you can do also is bring a foot up out to the side and bring it up in between the hands. One hand on either side of that foot, curl that back toe, lift that back knee, hop walk that back leg towards the front leg, hands on the hips, come up. So you can feel dizzy when you come up. So hands feet wide, hands to heart center, look down at your floor, breathe in, feel your heart rate. Use a big muscle groups to come up off the floor, by the way. So you may notice a little kick in the heart rate. Very good. All right, so we got to do a couple of standing poses. Today we're going to do warrior two. Now I'm trying to think what else. We may do chair pose. So I like warrior two. You can do this seated. If you're doing this seated, it's letter L, legs. And you're turning your torso out in front of the leg that's pointed forward. So it's just not like feet on the floor. It's like vigorous feet into the ground, whether you're standing, whether you're doing the chair seated version. I do the chair version where I hang onto the chair because I like to bring my feet way out. So step those feet way out. And then maybe you can heel toe them some more. Okay, that's where I use the chair. Now I'm going to lift a heel and turn the foot. And my hip turns a little bit when I do that. So what I'm going to do is bend my knee towards the short end of the yoga mat. And then I, get my feet nice and adjusted here. So remember the golfer grip hands? They're back. So fold those fingers into the pads of the hands. Go back to that letter W. Now, if you need to do a hand on the chair for balance, that's cool, okay? So squeeze the upper back musculature. Now, we hate wrinkles. There's a wrinkle on the floor. You're going to imagine that. So you're going to press down and away. So you really get into that hip musculature, okay? So squeezy shoulders, feet firm into the floor, arms out into a letter T, thumbs pointed towards me. Let's do the arm circles. You knew it, right? There may be this little wiggling going on. So you got to be really using your core, your firm foundation to stay upright. You're seated doing this with vigorous feet also. So again, feet aren't just on the surface, they're gripping the floor. Woo! 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Shake them out. Oh, shake them side to side. Let's come out of the pose, softly straighten, pivot the foot, walk it in. Some people jump it in. I don't do that anymore. Okay, so we got to do the other side. So bring those feet out, turn over to the other side for chair version. Heel toe out a little bit more if you can. Lift the heel, turn the foot. Now bend the knee. And again, you can kind of see, is your knee aligned with your foot? Heel toe out if you need to. I don't care how your feet are, just that you feel firm into the floor, okay? Again, there's that wrinkle. Press down and away. As you do your golfer's grip, letter W, re-squeeze, yeah? Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Extend those arms with the squeezy shoulders. Thumbs were forward before, thumbs up, thumbs to the back of the room. Ooh, back behind you and forward. Firm feet into the, and again, if you need to hang onto the chair, that's cool, all right? Just know you need to have a squeezy shoulder. Woo! Couple more, 2, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Shake it out. All right, soften that leg, turn that foot, bring it in. So, chair pose. You can do this behind the chair, beside the chair, on the chair. Just make sure your feet are pointed towards 12 o'clock. Okay, get it all nice and adjusted here. We're going to inhale, circle, sweep arms up. As we exhale, bend the knees, bend the elbows. Now, sometimes those knees like to drop in. I invite you to keep them in alignment with your feet if you can, okay? Let's stand up, inhaling. Exhale, bend the knees. If you're doing this seated on a chair, you're kind of scooching your feet towards the front of the chair and leaning forward to where you feel those quadriceps, hamstrings, behind working. Yes, we're staying in the pose a little bit, but now we're not. Inhaling up, exhale. So chair pose is also another one of those bone building postures. Can we stay here for 30 seconds? I don't know. Let's try. Let's do hands to heart center. Let's do parallel arms. Woo! Hands back to heart center. Hello, legs. Parallel arms. Oh my, is the heart rate going up? It should be. Hands back to heart center. And parallel arms. Let's do just about 5 more seconds. Here we go. Hands to heart center. Press the hands into one another. Press, 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 press. Parallel arms. And then inhale, circle, sweep arms up. Hands back to heart center. Beautiful. We're going to come back down to the floor. So, wish this class was like 90 minutes. We could get it all in, yeah? But y'all be probably pretty tired. So, let's get back into constructive rest pose. Now, what some folks will do during the guided rest and relaxation part of class, they'll bring that chair and bring their legs on the chair to get a little extra traction with their back. Or they'll put legs on the wall. But, you know, you don't have to do all that fancy stuff. You still get a good guided rest. So let's do our constructive rest pose. So you may not have noticed when you first did this how your body felt, but notice how it feels now. It might feel a little subtly different. It might. Let's do notice pose. Extend one leg, shake it out. Then the other. Wiggle those hips. Wiggle those shoulders. The feet can splay out. The arms can splay out. Some folks put their hands on their torso. Some folks take a little towel, cover up their eyes, or take their yoga strap, cover up their eyes. So you might want to be here, lying on your back for guided rest relaxation. You might want to be seated or somewhere more comfortable. Well, what I invite you to do is get more comfortable. I'm going to come up to the front of the room for our guided rest and relaxation portion of the class. So again, I invite you to get a little bit more comfortable, whatever that might mean for you. You might notice like the left side feeling a little bit less stuck to the floor. Maybe you want to kind of wiggle that left side, then the right. And just notice your breath. Don't change your breath in any way. Just notice, what does it feel like here to breathe in? What does it feel like here to breathe out? So notice the physical sensations that are going on. And then we're going to relax all the way from the top of the head down to the tips of the toes. So notice if there's any tension going on with the face. Maybe open the mouth and then let the lips softly seal. Notice if there's tension in the shoulders. Maybe you can do some little miniature shoulder shrugs to release that. And then wriggle those arms out to the side. Play with palms up, palms down. See what feels better. Maybe now noticing the breath. Is the belly rising as you breathe in? Then softly falling as you exhale. Wriggle that left leg, maybe that right leg. Let the tension come out of the toes. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in and sigh it out. That's called the stress releasing breath. Again, let's imagine at the very crown of the head, there's a little opening and there's a big ray of sunshine coming in through the top of the head. It's saturating every cell in your body, coming all the way from the top of the head down to the tops of the shoulders, and now going through the chest, the arms, the fingers, down the hips, the legs, the knees, all the way down to the tips of the toes. Breathe in the light, breathe in the healing, feel it, see it, imagine it. Now, if there's a spicy area in your body, maybe you can direct that sunshine to kind of go to that area and give it a little bit extra healing sunshine. Good. Now I invite you to come back into the now, back into the present moment. So let's just kind of wiggle those fingers a little bit, wiggle those toes. If you're laying flat on your back, maybe you can bend a knee into your chest and then the other, and do a little roll side to side. If you're seated here on the chair, maybe you can bring your knees wide and do the shoulder circles instead. And then let's reverse. Now, if you're lying on your back, I invite you to roll over onto your side and to slowly come up to that seated place. Again, when we come up off the floor to a seated place, there might be this equilibrium shift. So you can bring the hands to heart center and drop your chin towards your chest. That's to get yourself back into feeling balanced. From here, bring the head back to center. We're going to take our arm out to the side. It's called spread the feathers. So we spread out the fingers, arm out to the side, and lower it a little bit more than what I have it here. And then turn your thumb to the back of the room. Then you take your opposite ear, drop it towards your shoulder. That's to invite more blood flow into the brain, all about the blood flow. And then we're going to take our chin and point it up to where the wall meets the ceiling. So we're going to draw a half circle or a smile with our chin. So bring the chin towards the chest and then towards that extended arm side and release. So again, that's more, softening of the chest, the neck muscles here, and get more blood flow to the brain. Other side, spread them out, spread the feathers, arm out to the side, lower it a little bit, then take that thumb, turn it to the back of the room. Now take the opposite ear, drop it towards the shoulder. Notice how it feels here, yeah? Now take the chin, point it toward the wall meets the ceiling. That's the top of the smile or the half circle. Bring the chin towards the chest and then towards the extended arm side and release. Just for grins, I'm going to let you do Atlas point rotation. So take your nose and start drawing that circle. You might hear a little few snap, crackle, pops. And then pause, stop completely, and then let's go the other direction. And then bring it back to the center. Very good. So now we'll do our gratitude practice. So let's think about one thing that we're grateful for, or maybe an idea of gratitude. And then we can either take hands together or hands stacked, place them on our heart. And I invite you to drop your chin towards your chest. And gratitude is just showing up today. And again, bring whatever you're grateful for, grab it, clasp it, place it into that heart space. And then you can lift your chin up. We're going to say the traditional sayings to end the class today. So the light in me honors and respects the light in you. So let's take the peace, the strength, and the understanding, that little attitude of gratitude, and let's pass it on. Namaste, which means the bright light in me honors and respects the bright light in you. This concludes our practice of gentle yoga for back care. Let me stop the recording.